Hello, everyone. Welcome to Goodbye Bullshit, Hello Happiness, Young and Empowered Edition. It's December, so we figured, December and close to the holiday season, so we figured we'll do a show about seasonal depression, holiday blues, and how do we just take that stress out of the holiday season for all of us. My host, Samir, welcome. Thank you for
Oh,
being here again with me.
thank you for having me as always. Thank you.
So, Samir, I wonder how things are in your household with your friends, with family. I know for me, um, before, a long time ago, I know holidays were a big stress point in having to do things a certain way, having to spend a certain amount of time doing certain things with family, just the whole gifts and setting things up. Um, and as I let go of the rules that I had set, that the holidays had to be a certain way, and I sort of shifted into a new place for myself that just I'm going to let it be, and whatever I feel like will let that happen, and I don't have to do any of it, and I'm not obligated to do anything. It's sort of shifted, and now I see like my family has come in the same manner as that. It's a free flowing kind of a holiday, and it's easier to get together because there isn't any rules and on how many hours we got to spend together and all the gift giving and everything else, and even the food. We were so adamant about, like, we had to make certain foods, and we had to be all of it home cooked. Nowadays, sometimes during the holidays, nobody feels like cooking. We just want to enjoy. So it's like, okay, we're just gonna order the food and get the food and eat it that way, or we'll cook a portion of it and get a portion of it. So it's just the rules we let go of, and it's made it simpler and easier, and less hassle free and less stress and more enjoyable. So how has it been for you in general during this time of year?
So I love that. I love not having to put. I'm sorry, Tank is is
It's
singing.
okay, let him be in the background.
He's singing to go outside. But I've I've always I liked what you said about to removing the labels and removing the obligations during this time of the year, and coming from a place of just enjoyment and gratitude for being around the people that you love. I feel like that's you going from that angle versus having to beat expectations of last year. Oh, I got my friend or my significant other, my brother, this big of a gift last year. I have to top it. I feel like it puts unnecessary stress on you, and it takes you out of the moment to actually enjoy what the holidays are here for, which is to bring us all together. But I notice, as I get older and as time moves on, my peers and people around my age, and as life goes on and we lose people, and we cut ties with people, or we fall out of friendships, that the holidays tend to become harder as we progress in this game called life. So I feel like not to it's hard. It's easier said than done. But when you're especially going through the holidays with a loved one that's normally there with you, not there, uh, it could trigger some memories and past them like times with that loved one on.
Mhm.
So my suggestion to whoever is going through that is to use those memories to fuel you and get you through this holiday season in a positive light.
I like what you said. I forgot about that aspect of it. We fortunately, unfortunately, however, we haven't had for a long time now. Hadn't had a close one that had to that wasn't there.
Right.
But it is a difficult time, very emotional time for people, because that it is a time where everybody's together, and you notice when somebody that was always there, that presence is not there. Um, and there was a show I did, I think, a couple months ago, with Sarah on Magical Curiosities edition of What We Do, and her mom had passed away. And we talked about when you connect to your loved ones in a different way after they've passed, and you allow sort of that energy, that presence to be there, you can still sort of be sad and miss the physical part that's not there. But like you said, when you allow those memories to be there and you enjoy those memories, and even when we're with other people, you talk about it and you remember those good times that you've had. And um, it's sort of a new invitation, like you're inviting their spirit to come and be with you
Right.
during that time. Yes, it's not the same as them physically being there, but if when you get in the habit, I feel that you connect with people in sort of an energetical way, that is beyond the physical. When that time comes that they're past, they're moved on, and they're not there anymore physically, it allows those times, those family times, those holiday times to be a little bit easier, because you sort of like still invite them in, like, be here with us, and like you said, when you talk about those memories and good times, it shifts, it changes things. Sadness is there, but it's not as heavy.
Exactly, exactly. And I do feel like, people need to know that their avenues and ways to detour from the pain that they experience for not having their loved ones during the holidays, especially if it's their first holiday cycle without one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, depending if it's a brother, a mother, sister, whatever the case, whatever relationship you had, I feel like it'll be inevitable that you're gonna experience some pain the first time around. But at least knowing there are ways to channel and maneuver those feelings, and to instead of you know sitting in the sadness, trying to transmute it, like you said, having the conversations with family members about keeping their memory going on, and just finding ways to channel that sadness and turn it into something beautiful during this time.
Yeah, and one thing that popped up for me as you were talking is that during those times, I think, again, also make sure you're not doing a have to in terms of even the grieving process.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we feel like even in the grieving process, there's certain things we have to do, we have to follow, we have to let it be a certain way. Like I mentioned, Sarah, we were talking about that. At some point, she was like, my mom had passed away and I was feeling happy. And there were times, like she said, that if she wasn't who she was and she had healed all those parts, she would have felt guilty about being happy. She
Yeah.
would have felt bad, like, okay, no, I need to be grieving right now. And that grieving needs to be a certain way and look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
But when she let go of that and let her grieving be that, yes, I can right now be happy and joyful and still feel that I miss my mom and miss her presence here.
Right.
So let the grieving, you to figure out your grieving process for you during this time, and how you want to express that grieving is entirely up to you, and how you want to share it with the people around you also is entirely up to you. Because I think that's the other part, when you let go of that stress of I have to be a certain way, do a certain things,
Yeah.
it frees you up. If you need to cry, cry. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't sit in there because you have to.
Right, right. Now, you unintentionally covered a question I was going to ask you because my family's currently going through something similar with the passing of my aunt and which is my mom's sister. And I was going to ask you, for somebody who feels guilty about moving on, how she doesn't feel like in her right mind she could move on and be the same without feeling guilty. And you covered it beautifully, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. Everything is always working out. See,
Yeah,
earlier we were talking about something and Tank got us there.
yeah. You
So
see?
we always we always get the messages, and that's I think part of what we're saying today. We're always getting what we need. We're always receiving the messages. It's just that willingness to be open to receive it
Right.
in whatever shape or form it comes. We're
Absolutely.
always getting what we need.
Absolutely. And then, like you said, tying back into that original conversation, just trying to have things a specific way in a specific order, it 9 times out of 10 doesn't end up happening the way it does, but the way it does end up happening is what we needed the most. So I feel like there's a silver lining in it. It's just a reminder to trust the process and be open.
Exactly. So, question for you. You mentioned your aunt's passing. Now, how are you going to sort of during this time when you're with family? How are you gonna do, or are you gonna do anything different for yourself, for your family to honor her, or to just make it easier, lighter for the family or yourself?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And with her passing, I was very close to her. I feel like the way that I'm gonna move forward afterwards is to keep her spirit alive by doing what she used to do for the family. She would remember everybody's birthday. She was the smiling. She would be the life of the party. She'd keep everybody happy. Um, I'm going to take those qualities in her now more than ever, and make sure that within the family unit, it's that spirit is still alive. So, um, and then I'm not gonna stop talking. We're gonna continue to speak about her in a positive light and all the memories that we shared. And then her son that's he's about 7 years old. He's a very young boy. I'm going to make sure I'm in his life more than ever within her passing. So it's a more so of keeping her spirit alive in a positive light, keeping that support for the people that are really mourning and grieving her loss and her passing, and just making subtle reminders here and there that, like, even though she's not here physically, she's always with us within the spiritual, and paying attention to the signs all around me. If I see a cardinal or a blue jay, and giving those tidbits to my mom and my other aunt who are dying for a sign to know that she's okay, just to give her that reassurance.
Beautiful. I love that, especially the signs that you mentioned. I know, again, talking to Sarah, and I've had clients that they've had loved ones pass away. Those little signs are really important, especially if you open yourself up again. You got to be willing to see it, and don't dismiss it that, oh, it's just a blue jay. But when you feel like, no, this blue jay is something different, it's not my normally seeing blue jays, or this cardinal, whatever it is that it's coming to you. Another client of mine, her mom had passed away, and when I saw her, I think it was a year after her passing, and a couple of times we had the sessions outside, and a cardinal came, and I normally around my house they're full of cardinals and blue jays, but this cardinal I knew was something specific because it was very close to us and sitting looking, and sort of I turned around and I knew it was her mom's spirit, and I told her, and she's like, my mom used to love cardinals, and she would be outside her window. And for her too, and I think this is something other people can do. Cooking was a way that she connected with her mom. So
Hmm.
as she was cooking, she would invite her mom's spirit. It's like, come cook with me. And she
Right.
would say she was getting like sort of a feeling of to put a spice in a certain
Inspiration.
way, or add a certain spice that she wouldn't normally think of, things like that. Also, and she would say, it felt like I was cooking with my mom present there, and I knew she was there. It wasn't that, oh, I'm making it up. I could feel that she was there as I was cooking this dish.
Wow.
So invite those signs. I love it. And I'm glad that you're helping your family to see those signs that, hey, she is around us, she's present, and um, it feels good.
Yeah, it definitely does. And like you said, like it's I feel like it all starts with not dismissing the fact that these signs or that she's continuously with us in the spirit. People would say it and not really believe it and kind of close off their lens to her probably desperately trying to get their attention, like, hey, I'm all right, it begins with the willingness to receive the messages and a place of warmth. I feel like too when you do receive them, and to use your judgment to know what exactly is trying to be conveyed.
Yeah, and you feel it in your heart. I think that's the difference. When you allow it in your heart, it does feel different.
Right,
um when a long time ago, I know when my grandfather and my uncle passed away, I was very close to both of them. And I could feel like there were times I would feel like there was a shoulder, like a hand on my shoulder. I would feel like there's something here.
right,
And you don't say it to other people. It's like at that point, this is a long time ago, before any of my of who I was now, who I am now.
right.
And I wouldn't say it to anybody feeling like, oh, they're gonna think I'm crazy. But right now, I would, like, definitely, when I feel something, I say it. But yeah, I felt it in my heart, like, no, they're here. He's here. I can feel him here.
Wow, wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. I
But
love.
you gotta let it in, as you said. You gotta let it in.
Right, right. And I feel like these types of conversations will scare a lot of people. People who've passed, or when we get into the conversation of spirit or ghosts, people, as much as they miss their loved one, if they appear to them within the spiritual, it's kind of a scary phenomenon. And I don't dismiss that feeling, but I do personally think it exists, and if they loved you here in the physical, they're gonna love you there in the spiritual as well, even more.
Perfect. Yes, they're gonna love you. The love is there. And I think that, oh, you said this earlier too. If they're trying to make your grieving process a bit lighter
Right,
and help you during this time, how else can they tell you, like, I'm good, I still love you, I'm still here?
right,
So if they're trying to show you that we ask for it, it's like, I wish I knew, I just want to feel them.
hmm,
And when we do, like you said, fear comes in, and we try to either dismiss it, or that fear doesn't let us connect as easy. um, I always go to, if it feels good to you, let the fear go. If it's something that right now it feels good in your heart, it's settling in, it's making you feel at ease and at peace, allow it in, invite it in.
yes,
There is no harm in that.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that. I love that.
So, what else during this holiday? What do you think would be other good things for people just in general? That is there a difference? I mean, like we were talking about this earlier. I know there's a big age. I'm going to be 51 in a couple weeks, but is there anything different? Do you handle things differently? I mean, do you think, uh, you look at your parents, and is there a way that they do things differently than you, that you wish like everybody was, more in tune?
I'm 28, and I mentioned earlier, like I feel like as we get older, the holidays become more depressing, but it's not the case for everybody. But that was just something that came out. Um, I feel like I'm transitioning from the receiving the gifts end to now get to more of the giving. I'm at that point in life, so now the holidays are different in the sense that like it'll make me happier to see somebody else smile from a gift than me getting one. So that's how it's been changing for me. And I came to the realization that like I don't have to put myself in debt or a financial burden to make my loved ones happy, because that's how I used to think before. I was like, wow, it's a special. It's Christmas is special. They probably got me a nice gift. If you're not in a position to do that, if you have to go use a credit card or go into debt or take a loan out, it's never worth it. I don't think in
Yeah.
these particular situations. And to just being your presence speaks volumes during the holidays. That's why. So I'm going in with that approach, and I'm looking to express more meaning versus tangible, and that's just basically the approach I'm in right now within the space I'm in right now.
I think you're right. I didn't know if it came with age or with just like I said. I switched to the place of not having to do certain things a certain way. So for us, actually, like the adults, we don't really give each other presents. If we do, it's something really small. Like if I know like my sister loves chocolate, and
Right,
I went out and I saw this, nice dark chocolate, I'll get it for her, something like that. But for most part, the adults, we don't give gifts to each other anymore.
right.
And even it was interesting, this was the first year even for my son. It started last year, and this year even more,
Hmm.
that he was like, it's okay if you guys don't get me stuff. I don't need a lot of stuff. There's stuff that I need, like clothes and stuff. He's always growing out of clothes. So he said, I'll give you a list of my clothes that I need. And pretty much, and he kept saying, he's like, Mom, don't get me a lot of stuff. Don't get me anything. Um, and even when the family insisted, like, okay, we're going to get you some stuff. So can you give us a list? It was funny. He gave them the list and he's like, don't feel like you have to get me everything on this list.
Wow, you see?
So it changed for him too.
Absolutely, absolutely. I feel like there comes a point in time, like as you get older, you start to realize, like, I pretty much have everything I need, and you seriously becoming. Me personally, I've transitioned into like I'd rather chase experiences versus tangible things. So if we're in a gift exchange and then we exchange gifts to like a plane ticket somewhere we've never been,
Yeah.
something like that, I feel like that gives me more thrill than something that I could use with my hands. And I don't know. I feel like as I gotten older, that's just where my mind and my heart is taking me.
Yes. Quality versus quantity.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's really the bottom line of this time. It's more quality of that time that you're spending together, not quantity. And that's the point. Again, there are all sorts of families, and there's some right now going through healing process. They've had things happen in the past, and you might be going through your healing process. As you mentioned, there's people that are not there that were there before, so every family has their own thing. And again, the quality of the time that you spend together is more important than, hey, I have to be here 10 hours today and I
Yeah.
gotta do things. No, if you really are going through something, make that time that you're there the quality of that time. Even if you're there for 30 minutes, even if you're there for like a couple of hours, let that be a quality, what you want to be there. And when the time is that you need a break, you need to be on your own, allow yourself to take that break for whatever reason. If you need to grieve by yourself, if you need to take a break to realign with yourself or just ground yourself, give yourself that time to do that, and then later again you might want to come back to get together again, leave for an hour, come back. But again, I think it's important during this time, do quality versus quantity, no matter in gifts and the time you spend together.
Yeah.
That to me is like the number one rule.
100%. And that's beautifully put. It's all about the quality versus the quantity, and being intentional with it too. That not allowing the weight of the moment drift you all over the place and put unnecessary stress on your heart. It's just using that time intentionally to bask in as much love as possible.
One more question for you. We're also going into the new year. So are you the type of person that likes New Year resolutions? Do you do that or not?
Honestly, um, honestly, no. I'm not into big into New Year's resolutions. It's like throughout the year, I set goals for myself and would like typically and mostly stay consistent with my way of life and what I want out of life. So to just marginalize it to one day and 1 year, it's a counterintuitive for me. So I don't do New Year's resolutions. How about you?
Yeah. No, I don't. I don't think I was ever big on New Year resolution. It never made sense to me. Like, because again, it was like you're putting so much stress on New Year. Like, okay, New Year is coming. I have to be the best at this, best at that.
Right.
Rather than, I'm gonna be me, and each day,
Exactly.
let's say like wine, I'm gonna get better and better every day.
Right. Fine wine. No,
Exactly.
that's so true, and that's it's not a knock to people that do use New Year's
Yeah.
resolutions, because some people you could, like, it's a necessary pressure and stress you could put on yourself to get your goals done. But me personally, I feel like it'll be more beneficial to just be yourself, be consistent throughout the year, and if you feel like you're falling behind on your standards, just get subtle reminder and get back up and keep going.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, the new again, everybody has their own way of they go through things. If the New Year resolutions help you, by all means, go for it. Everything has to work for you at the end of the day, and if that's something that works, great. And my only advice on that is the same as you said. Don't let it stress you out. Don't let it be something that okay, I set some goals and I didn't, a month into the new year, you're all depressed because you didn't reach the goals that you had set out. So
Exactly.
make them things that make sense for you, for who you are today, and let it come to you. Because again, there is something called divine time and divine purpose.
Yes.
And the more you align yourself with that and let it come to you when the time is right and it's what you need at that time, the easier that process of whatever you're trying to achieve, you'll get there in a much easier way and simpler way.
Yes. 100%. I have one question for you too. As
Yes.
as we're approaching the new year, you know how crazy the past 2 years have been with COVID and everything like that. Do you have any, in your personal worldview lens, do you have any predictions of 2023? What do we expect to see? The world?
I'm hopeful.
Good. That's
I'm
nice.
hopeful because I'm seeing things may look as if they're things blowing up all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning like you and I talked about this earlier, the revolution that's going on in Iran,
Mm-hmm.
there's Ukraine, even the elections coming up in the US. There I feel like there are these pockets just bubbling up and blowing up everywhere, but there's a purpose in that.
Right.
The healing process, as you know, it's not a it's not as simple as, oh, I'm just going to heal, I'm going to let it go. sometimes things in, please excuse me, this might be a little bit disgusting way of saying this, but the visuals will be there. It's like a pimple, you
Yeah.
know, that pimple sometimes it's there, you feel it, it hurts, but you can't pop it, or it's not all of it coming out. It needs that time to fully come, get bigger and come out. And sometimes it needs that push and you get it all out. So right now I feel like those pockets that are of things blowing up everywhere, it's a
Right.
necessary, again, process for everybody, the healing of this world, this earth that we're living in.
Mhm.
Because all of us at the end of the day, we work too hard throughout our history, human history, to separate,
Mhm.
and we let fear guide us. And I'm hopeful that now we're letting go of those separations and those lines that we put there, and letting go of those fears and trying to align more with love and peace and who we are.
Nice.
And finding that balance. So yeah, I'm hopeful for 23. What about you?
I like that. I like hopeful because same with me. I kind of agree in the central concept that, like, and excuse my language, things have to go to complete shit for them
Yep.
to rebuild and reestablish the new. And
Yeah.
I'm hopeful in like this cleansing I'd like to use would
Yes.
is happening for a reason, and I don't think it's beneficial to buy into the fear mongering and think like, oh, this might be it. This is the end of the world. Rather, I feel like we're in a transitionary period that once we do what we have to do and address the problems that we're currently going through right now, on the other side of that, it's going to be very beautiful. But on another end, on a completely different end, I see the rapid advancements of technology and I know AI. I know you've seen everybody on Instagram who made AI versions of themselves. I feel like we're progressively moving fast in a world that AI is going to play a big part in, and whether that may be taking jobs and like automated jobs like on the phone secretary, or there's this program out now right now that could write you a full essay just saying, hey, write me an essay on George Washington, and it'll make it in within a matter of seconds. I do see that AI and the use of robots are going to start to play a bigger role in 2023. So that's how I see it.
It's interesting you mentioned AI. I hadn't seen all the apps, or when I started feeling AI, like it was a before all the app. I mean, some of the apps were there, but not as much as what they were. And I kept like just feeling like, what does that mean in our world? And especially then it led into the artwork. As you know, I do digital art, and now there are all these apps and things, and you can say, for the AI, create this and create this artwork, and it does it for you. And I was kind of like, so what does that mean for my art, for art in general? So I played around with some of them, and then the app for the profiles, different apps came, and then I did it. And even in that, it was funny. There were some that gave me these pictures. I was like, this looks nothing like me. Like, it was like, it was. I cannot say how much it did. So I tried different ones, and it gave me some. It's like, okay, these are, at least these look a little bit like me. But one thing I found was that even with the art that you'd say, create this,
Mm-hmm.
it was missing the energy
Yes.
behind it. Meaning, yes, the AI can create visually a good looking art, like it's beautiful, but that art that a person creates, whether it's somebody like me that is digital art, or a photographer that's taking a picture, or somebody that's actually painting using whatever medium, there's an energy. I'm putting an energy into this.
Mhm.
Even in that essay, when you are reading a book or a blog or anything, that person that created that blog or essay put a piece of their energy in there. Those words they use had their energy. That's why I always say, you know, be mindful of what you're reading and what you're seeing, because there's an energy in it and that person put that energy. So if you're feeling a certain way, check and see if it's mine or if it just came because I was seeing this or reading this. And so that energy is important, which I cannot see a robot or AI being capable of that energy.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a great way of looking at it. Definitely, and especially in the world of art, where you know you could feel what the mood that person was in at the given time where they created their piece or a song. You know what I'm saying? Where that could incite an emotional response in your heart. I definitely don't see AI robots being able to replicate that. That's real.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Nice.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Samir. As always, I loved our talk. It was excellent. I hope everybody you enjoyed it as well, and you were able to take something for yourselves. Please share, comment, like, tell us if you want us to cover, and hopefully, maybe in 2023. I know I've been posting recorded shows, but maybe we can move it to do some live shows as well, so you guys can join us live and start asking your questions right when we're having the show.
I love that.
Thank you, Samir. Thank you, everybody. Wishing
You.
you all happy holidays, however you're celebrating. Sending you all much love.
Happy holidays. Thank you for having me, Atousa. I appreciate it, as always. Love.
Bye, everyone.